a year now, but I am also on the path to getting ordained in the UU tradition, so thank you. I just got my ministerial sponsorship from this congregation last month, so thank you all. So I'm going to share a little bit about my story. So I first came to UU, or to Fund specifically, in the mid-2010s. I was invited to meet with Gail and other members through Greg Easterly, who is a member here, and a volunteer at a local organization that focused on worker rights that I worked at. I came and I took part in the sermon. I think it was my first interaction at this church. I shared about my work as a labor organizer with a local nonprofit here in Nashville and the conditions of struggle for justice faced by many of the low-wage immigrant workers. I then met other Unitarian Universalists as we were organizing in the early years of the Trump presidency, nomination and presidency. So we collaborated on a lot of events outside of the Republican National Convention, outside of children immigrant detention centers, and many, many other ways. My work, my professional work, then took me to the rural tomato fields of Southwest Florida to accompany, quote unquote, what we called essential for a quick moment, workers, farm workers, and this was before the pandemic, to speak about labor rights in the fields. They were fighting for things such as bathroom breaks and shade, things that we take for granted, they're still not respected. So the farm workers belong to the Coalition of Immokalee Workers, an organization that's been around for 30 plus years that has been received lots of human rights accolades for changing the conditions and making them better. And through that work, I met a fellow UU pastor from Naples who invited the coalition to speak to the congregation. I accompanied the coalition and helped with interpretation and translation and share my thoughts about how someone like me who has never been in the fields can support and how it ties to our commitment of faith and justice. I also met other UU pastors and members who were called to act through the farm worker protection and justice through the national faith organizing that the coalition did. So my introduction to Unitarian Universalism was always with the people with boots on the ground, the people who brought the values into action and sought justice. It was through those many, many countless actions of demanding a better existence, of dreaming up a better alternative, that the UU Church started to feel like a place that I could ground myself theologically, spiritually, and I could live into my values. As a Mexican immigrant woman of color in the South, I have to, for lack of a better word, suss out spaces. I have to go in and be like, okay, what's really happening here? Although I am part of the global majority here, in whatever definition of here you want to apply, I am reminded that I am not the cultural norm or majority. I have, as many Black, Indigenous, or people of color, have had my share of well-intentioned microaggressions in all types of spaces. I wanted to share that specifically because comfort is sometimes conflated with peace or spiritual development or a spiritual home. Comfort is shared as an ultimate goal. And comfort is nice. Who doesn't want to be comfortable? I want to be comfortable. I want to snuggle up in a blanket and be the perfect balance of like warm and cool with the fan on. I want to be affirmed all day long, even if I'm wrong. And I think it's completely okay if our religious communities offer comfort. It is very much a human desire, but it shouldn't be the only thing that is offered. So there's truly no space in the world where I can say that I am 100% comfortable or safe. I am too aware of the requirements of labor and exploitation that allow us to have what we have in the United States. I am too aware of the atrocities fueled by the demand for oil and gas that keep poor people at war. I am too aware of the genocides and continue to show up for the ways for the people of Palestine and others. And so safety is not something that I can search for or acquire. Yeah. For me, Unitarian Universalism offered a space to shape, strengthen, humble, motivate, and transform. So I don't expect safety or comfort in the UU tradition. I seek and I am met with a commitment for a better world. Identifying as a UU is where I can find my resiliency, accountability, and commitment for the greater good. And in order to commit to the greater good, we have to constantly commit to change and transformation, and that always isn't easy. It isn't always what we gravitate towards to. Nobody really, if you're comfortable and you're fine, why would you want to change? Why would you want to change your life? It's not necessary, right? But to commit to that, we really have to go against, it is neither fully nature nor nurture. I think it's a little bit of both that we have to constantly cultivate. But it is that commitment to continuously be transformed, to remain open to the world around you, to continuously question yourself and others with grace and love. Is this our best? It was in a community with UUs and from people from other religious backgrounds, outside of spaces like children detention centers, marching in the streets with mothers against genocide for peace and liberation in Palestine, showing up with Jewish Voice for Peace, walking alongside UUs and Black Lives Matter marches and movements, and countless other spaces that I feel hope. And it is in that commitment that gives me hope. It is in statements such as that from the Creating Peace of the UU's 2010 Statement of Conscience that says, "We believe all people share a moral responsibility to create peace, mindful both of our rich heritage and our past failures, to prevent war, and enriched by our present diversity of experience and perspective, we commit ourselves to radically inclusive and transformative approach to peace." It was in that imperfect statements and the imperfect practices that I feel that we have chance, that we have hope, that we have commitment. It is in those spaces where I can imagine safety and I can find comfort. I find comfort in that commitment. So within the UU tradition, I can question, I can learn, I can be in community, I can expect to be transformed. And that's why I'm here. That's why I like it here. The UU world, the space, this approach to the world, this framework of values, this manifestation of spirituality or religion, or however you want to describe it that makes it work for you. I expect to become a better version of myself here as we create and commit to a better existence all around us. So peace, paz, shalom, and salam a todos.